Hello, I'm Terry Carter with the University of Georgia's Cobb County Cooperative Extension Office. Today we have some great recipes, especially for the holidays. I'm going to be giving you one recipe now, and we'll have another show later, and you'll have a second recipe. So to start off with, we're going to have something that is a great appetizer. It's easy to make, it's really no cooking involved, and you can make it real quick, no issues, all right? So even if you're not a great cook, no worries, you can do this. So this is called English pea mint crostini. It may sound all complicated, but it's really simple. Let me tell you what the crostini is. This is basically what I've used here. Let me show you. And this is some French bread, or French baguette that I have. And this is old. It doesn't have to be really fresh because you're going to toast it. So all I did was to cut these up into these shapes. Really easy to do. And so you'll get a lot of those. So I have these here. And what I did after I cut them up, I took olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, and I just tossed these. And you can either put these in the oven to bake them off, get them a little crispy, or you can just put them on top of the stove in a skillet. So it's just like I said, olive oil, salt and pepper. If you want to add a little bit of Italian seasoning, you can do that as well. So that is our crostini. And if you like this a little soft, don't cook it as long. But if you like it crunchy, you can cook it a little bit longer. So basically, the timing factor is up to you, how long you cook these and how soft you want them to be. Me personally, sometimes I like them a little soft, but sometimes I like that really nice crisp to it. And you want to season these with the salt and pepper, olive oil, and herbs just because you want to give that a little flavor. I like to really give every step of this a little bit of flavor. So that's what we've done for that. So now we're going to sit this to the side and we'll go on to the second step. Basically, we have two layers here. We'll have a layer of ricotta cheese that's also going to be seasoning, and then we'll have our actual English peas. Now, the ricotta cheese, really easy to do. We're just going to take one of our bowls here and scoop a little bit of our ricotta cheese in here. Okay, we'll put that to the side. So we have our ricotta cheese here, and how much of everything you add depends on how many you're making. I'm not really using a recipe. I'm just kind of going freehand, and that's fine because you're going to season this to taste. So I'm going to add a little bit of my lemon zest to this. All right, there's the lemon zest. I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese here. And if you don't want to add the Parmesan cheese, you can definitely leave this out. I like it in here though. As I said, it adds a little bit more flavor to it. Okay, I'm not going to add my salt and pepper here. And I do like fresh cracked pepper. People say, what's the difference? It is a difference. When you do the fresh cracked pepper, it just has more flavor to it, more depth of flavor. So I really like that. All right, and we're going to add some salt to that as well. And basically, that's all there's to it. And I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil to this as well. You don't have to. I've seen this made basically with just the ricotta cheese and nothing else really added to it. But I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil to that. And I just want to kind of fluff it up. And I think that olive oil will just kind of give it that little fluff that I'm looking for there. See how nice and soft that is? And fluffy? And that's all to it. And that's step number 2. Look how quickly we did that, right? Okay, so we'll set our olive oil over here. Now, that's step 2. Now, the last step. Here we go. It may be the hardest step. So these are our English peas, and let's talk about the peas. Some people call them sweet peas, English peas, whatever you choose to call them. So these are frozen, and all I've done was just take these out of the freezer, and I actually cooked these off for about 3 or 4 minutes. But to be honest with you, you really don't have to cook them. You can take these out of the freezer and mash them just like that. The first time I had this dish was from a chef that I know locally, and he made this dish for us, and he did not cook the peas. He took the peas right out of the freezer and started to mash them. So you don't have to cook these if you don't want to. I may actually prefer them uncooked, actually a little bit better. So here are our peas. And so what we're going to be adding to this is some lemon juice. So I have my fresh squeezed lemon juice here. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice to that. I'm also going to add my salt and pepper again to that. Once again, we're layering with seasoning every step, and that's what really adds that depth of flavor all through the dish that we love to taste. All right, so there's a little salt. I'm going to add a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. All right, I'm also going to add my mint. Here's my mint, and I've chopped up a little mint there. Okay. All right, so at this point, you have to decide how you want to smash these peas. You got about 3 options here. You can use the back of a fork. You can use a potato masher. You could use something like this, which is very easy to do, or you could actually put this in a blender or a mixer or a food processor. But you want to definitely get these incorporated in. And I'm also going to add a little bit of olive oil to this as well. And so we're going to start by using this first, and let's see how this goes, okay? You got to put a little elbow grease, as they say, into this. So I'm mashing. Now, as far as how mashed these peas are, once again, that's really up to you. But I think this is doing pretty good. So I think I can make do with this. This is going to be fine. I'm going to add a little bit of this Parmesan cheese to it. And we're going to mash a little bit more. Now you might ask, could you use canned peas with this? Yes, you could, but I think the frozen will taste better. And if you do use a canned English pea with this, please use a good quality one, all right? My grandmother always told me, use the best quality ingredients that you can afford. If you can't afford it, oh well, use what you have. All right, so I think these peas are actually looking pretty good. Now, some people will actually like these peas completely mashed to the point where you see no peas. It's just very creamy. You don't have to do that. You can leave these peas half mashed, some are whole, some are mashed. You can try and go all the way and mash them. And I've even seen people who don't mash them at all. I prefer at least some mashing with this. So this is pretty good here. I'm going to add a little bit more salt to this and a little bit more pepper to this. And you want to make sure you add some liquid to this, simply because if you don't, they'll be really dry. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Okay, yeah, that requires a little work. Okay, so these are mashed up earlier, and if you look at these, they look a little dry, to say the least. So they are pretty dry. So that's what's going to happen if you don't add anything to it, like any oil or anything in there. You're going to end up with a pretty dry pea. And what you could do in that case is you could add a little liquid to it. You could add a little water to that if you wanted to, just because it's going to continue to dry out, especially once you sit it out and get ready to serve it, okay? All right, so this is the fun part here. How do we put this whole thing together? All right, so we're going to get our 3 ingredients that we have here that we're going to be using. All right, so we're going to start with our crostini. Let's take a few of these out and let's get started making these, and these are very good. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll add a little bit of our ricotta cheese mixture here. And how much ricotta cheese you add, once again, that's totally up to you, but you don't want to put too much on there and then you can't get the peas on there. I like ricotta cheese, so I'm going to try not to put too much on here so we have a nice, but you want to create a nice base for your peas to sit on, otherwise they're going to fall off. So we don't want them falling off. So here we go. See? Very, very easy to come together quickly. And I didn't save any of my lemon zest, but what I would have done here is to add, well, I got just a tiny bit, just a tiny bit of lemon zest. Lemon zest can be hard to do because you got to zest one lemon, then you got to zest another one to get enough zest. What I would suggest you do is make sure you have a good lemon zester, something that's really going to get that lemon zest off quickly and easily. But this is our mint pea crostini, and what we would do right here is add maybe just a drizzle, just a little bit more olive oil on here. A little bit more olive oil, just a little bit of decoration here just to see what we had in there, and voila, mint pea crostini for the holidays. And if you wanted to add just a little bit more Parmesan cheese here, there you go. All right, wasn't that easy enough? So this is a simple recipe you can make for the holidays, for any occasion. Great for Christmas, New Year's, any holiday that you may have coming up and you want to entertain just a little bit. Easy to do and pretty inexpensive too. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you make this recipe soon. Bye-bye.